let me tell you, first of all, the buzzword doing around the world is sustainability. What does sustainability means? Is there any definition to sustainability? Is sustainability different for architecture people, or is sustainability different for business entrepreneurs? That is a question which we all have to answer. Next word is entrepreneurship. That is engine for growth of economy, which is happening. That is what happens. Does entrepreneurship helps in growth of a country or not? Does it create more job? Does it create more wealth and values? These are the things which I'm going to talk about today. For this to happen, what I thought was, once this topic was given, I always, if you see my webinars and lectures, I always take it as a journey and find out what are the stations which is there in between, and then take that subject forward. So the first thing after I got the topic was, what is Sustainable Development Goals? How many goals are there? Are there 17 goals? What are they? And out of these goals, as for the theme of this workshop, is Sustainable Development Goal 4, quality education. What does quality education Sustainable Development Goal involves? And where does sustainability entrepreneurship fits in there? So this is what I'm going to answer in next slides. Then what is sustainable? What do you mean by sustainable? Who is entrepreneur? What is the difference between entrepreneur and a businessman? What is entrepreneurship? Is there any ecosystem required for entrepreneurship to happen? Or does it come out automatically? How, in case I've got thought and ideas with me, how do I take it forward? Is there any policy available to me? And how the funding for this product or processes or idea which has come to me is taken forward? Then I'll tell you about what are the successful examples of some successful architects, entrepreneurs who have made this journey successful. So we'll be talking about them. And lastly, I've devised a concept which is a mentor for change. Can we do something to sustainability for this to happen? What all it involves? I've developed a model which is known as concept of mentor for change. So we'll be talking about these things in next 60 minutes or so. The Sustainable Development Goals. In September 2015, 139 countries, they all came together in United Nations to adopt and commit a long-term comprehensive strategy to tackle world's greatest challenge related to global sustainability development. So the result of that was basically for the strategy, they devised 17 goals. If that can be achieved by 2030 is what is the aim or mission with which UNDPC have taken forward. First of that is basically there should not be poverty. Next goal is zero hunger. Like wasteless food and support of local farmers should be there. Third goal, naturally, if there's no poverty, there's no hunger, you will be good health and well-being has to be taken care of. Vaccination or your family and other things have to be taken forward. And the fourth goal, which is the theme of a project, that is to help educate children in your community. Quality education, what all quality education involved, we'll be talking about in detail with the key factors as Sustainability Development Goal 4. Development Goal 5 was basically there should be gender equality between women, men and girls who are there. Equal rights should be given to them. And sixth goal is avoid wasting water. I don't know how many of you are aware that yesterday was the World Water Day. It has come from Sustainable Development Goal 6, that we should avoid wasting water and store water, because depletion of water is going to take place And that is also going to create problem for us at a later stage. Sustainable goal number 7 is affordable and clean energy. Renewable energy, I'll be providing them to them. Goal 8, which is also in line with my topic, that is a decent work and economic goal. That can only happen if some entrepreneur kind of activity takes place. You create jobs, opportunities given to youth and young people to take it forward. Goal 9 is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Goal 10 is reduce inequality between the rich and the poor. That is what is to be done. Goal 11 is sustainable city and community should be developed. There should be bike walkability. You go anywhere now, you have pollution and other things, fog, and everything comes up in daily. So why can't we have sustainable cities and communities? Can we develop it? Goal 12 is responsible consumption and production. That is recycling paper, plastic, glass, and aluminum. So all this sustainable development goal is actually nothing but a collection of objectives set, by which United Nations calls it a blueprint to achieve better and sustainable future for all. So this goal they seek to accomplish by ending poverty, which was goal number 1, hunger, goal number 2, advancing inclusivity and equitable education opportunity, goal 4, and to promoting access to renewable energy, which is goal 7. So like that, we have goal number 13, which is a climate action goal. Act now, otherwise stop. Global warming is happening, a lot of floods and other thing, or drought and other thing is happening because of the basically cutting of trees and other things. So that global temperature is going up. We have to stop that. So life below water, you are just throwing waste, everything on water. So avoid plastic bags and keep ocean clean. And then life on land has to be encouraged and protected. You plant more trees, greenery has to be done. Goal 16 is stand up for human rights. Goal 17 is have partnership between government to boost development and financing. While each goal matters and actually they are interconnected, incorporating what? Social, economic, and environmental. As UN, United Nations puts it, this is a global blueprint for dignity, peace, and prosperity of people and now as well as in future. That is what is sustainability. So we'll come to that definition. That is, we'll now see what is there for Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4. This is basically to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote life opportunities for all. As I always say, that learning normally happens in 4 ways. One is learning, you learn from your teacher, you learn from your peer group, you also learn, do self-learning, and last is lifelong learning opportunity. So that lifelong learning can only happen if opportunities are given. So that is what is there in Sustainable Development Goal 4. That is, you must provide free primary and secondary education to all. Just note the point, free primary, secondary education. Next, you provide free, but is it accessible? Goal number 2, target 2 is equal, accessible, quality, pre-primary education to all. I've given pre-primary education, but have I given them chance to have their own jobs and vocational and technical training? So equal access should also be given to affordable technical, vocational, and higher education. And target 4.4, which is also related to your sustainable entrepreneurship. That is increased number of people with relevant skill sets which are required for financial success. Target 5, there are 10 targets in Sustainable Development Goal 4. Eliminate discrimination education. That is, all those people who are Divyang should also be given education. They should not be left behind. They should also be taken forward and given education. Target 6, universal literacy and numeracy. Target 7, this is also related to my topic, sustainable entrepreneurship. That is education for sustainable development. Development can only happen if entrepreneurship is there and global citizenship is there. and access to all the thing is there, is provided to all citizens. Target 8, build and upgrade whatever schools are there. You have to build them and upgrade it and make it inclusive and safe schools where everybody, even Divyangs and others, can also go. Expand higher education scholarships for developing countries. Target 10 is what for our teachers? Increase supply of this qualified teachers in developing countries. So this is as far as sustainable development goal 4 is there, and which you are taking it one by one each day. So today I'll be just talking about in this target 4 and target 7, which is related to sustainable entrepreneurship. So firstly, what you have is basically according to, like I said, is there any definition? The first definition was given in 1987 by Brundtland Commission report, which was submitted to United Nations, where they say sustainable development is a process. It is a process used to pursue sustainability, means meeting the needs of the present. I'm meeting the needs of the present without, note the keywords, meeting the need of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their need at that time. That is what sustainability is. Now, to further subdivide this sustainability, this concept was further broken up into 3 cores or 3 pillars, which is economy, environmental, and social. That means sustainability is related to environmental. A viable natural environment should be provided. Social, that is nurturing the community for which you are doing some work, and whatever you're doing should have some economic benefits. So sufficient economy should be generated if I do this. So that is what is known as sustainable development. Now, these 2 words I've given, sustainability and sustainable development. What is sustainability? Sustainability is a larger long-term goal of building a more sustainable world, whereas sustainable development is often referred to specific processes and method to achieve that goal so that in long-term measures we get sustainability. If you see the view fold, you have society, environment, and economics. In society, you increase the standard of living, give education, have more job opportunities, equal opportunity should be given to all. Environmental, you must conserve natural resources, pollution prevention, biodiversity should be there. In economic side, if you see, there should be growth, economic related to growth. If there is a growth, there got to be profit. There has to be profit, then the cost saving is there. Or to achieve all this thing, research and development should happen so that you save on each penny. Now, this is what is on broader terms what sustainability means. But does the same definition apply to my business or in my business world? In my business world, the same thing slightly changes or twists. That is, in business world, sustainability is viewed as a form of triple bottom line reporting system, whereby business entrepreneur communicate to their stakeholders in terms of economic performance, business, so he is more worried about profit, environmental performance, so he is saving planet, and social performance, so he is doing something for upliftment of people for which he is creating their business. So that means business practice is nothing that is economically viable, socially responsible, and environmentally friendly. And this is usually regarded as being sustainable. If you have these 3 things, if your proposal, if your business practice is economically viable, socially responsible, and it is environmentally friendly, then this is regarded as being sustainable business. I hope this is clear up till now. Now, there is another, sometimes people get confused between what is entrepreneur and what is businessman. Is there a difference in it? Entrepreneur is nothing. It is an individual who has some idea, exclusive idea to initiate and to establish a new venture or business proposal and bring change in the world. Because of this idea, there is some change, there is some innovation which is happening in this. But if I do this innovation and this change, it has to be risk-oriented. So the environment is highly creative, innovative, and it takes risks because it involves risk. It may be successful, may not be successful, and it endures unpredictability of the business. Now, the business started by these entrepreneurs with new concepts for the first time is known as startups. So this is what I'm just defining some terms we come across. Entrepreneur, we come startups. A new concept for the first time is tried is known as startups. That is what is in the world. This is what is known as. Now, this entrepreneur is also an integral part of, this is all part of the operation where you build, deploy other functions and operations, and capital. This later becomes the entrepreneur, becomes a businessman. So that means this is all is a entrepreneur process. I'll just tell you what entrepreneurship is. That is a process. Now, as an entrepreneur is a person. Now, let's see in relation to what a businessman does. Businessman is basically an individual who operates and start business with the same old business ideas. He is actually basically a market player who's creating work out of the market, whereas entrepreneur do something different. So automatically, if you do something different, it becomes a hit and you become a market leader in that. So businessman actually is looking for a place in already established market because he's doing some old business. Whereas entrepreneur, he creates his own market because he has produced a product which is totally new. So he creates his own market, his own niche. Whereas business, since it is already tried and trusted thing, so the risk involved is less. They may exceed, may not excel. So the risk involved is there approximately high. So a businessman is basically traditional and ordinary, whereas entrepreneurship can only happen if you have some idea out of the box or unconventional idea is there given to you. Businessman focuses on basically profit, whereas entrepreneur, first of all, profit is there in his mind, but he focuses on employee, customer, and public, and is extremely high because already that product is already there. Whereas in entrepreneur, the competition is low because you're the first mover. You are the one who have started a product or introduced a new product. So your competition is with yourself only, with your product being getting successful. So I hope this definition between entrepreneurship and a businessman is quite clear. Now I'll just talk about as what is entrepreneurship. There's another word which is known as entrepreneurship. It's nothing. Entrepreneurship is basically ability and readiness to develop, organize, and run a business enterprise. Enterprise is outcome, along with its uncertainty in order to make profit. That means an entrepreneur is a person. Entrepreneurship is a process which is happening for that idea or that addition to take place. And enterprise is the model which it evolves. That is, an entrepreneur is someone who locates the need of the society and tries to meet the same with his or her innovative ideas. Whereas entrepreneurship refers to the process of establishing that business entity intended to get a profit. So how do you get that? You have an idea. You have idea generation is there. You have an idea. You process that idea with skills, knowledge, competency, creative. Evaluate what are the opportunities available to you. If you see on the left side, that is the whole process which takes place. That is, there's a generation of idea. Once you have idea, you develop a business plan. Once you develop a business plan, you have fundraising done for it. After you have done the fundraising, you promote your product, and then you start commencing the thing, and then you start harvesting the thing and taking it forward. So this is, I hope it's clear, definition between entrepreneurship and enterprise. Enterprise is the business or the outcome which is there. Entrepreneurship is the process. Okay. Now we'll just talk about further as to how I have got certain kind of an idea. Now that idea has to be converted into funding and has to be taken it forward. So if I got an idea, if you see on left side, I've got an idea. Idea could be a product or could be a service. I have to convert it into reality. So how do I do it? So that I've got an idea, but I don't have the money. From where to get the money? So you must have heard this terms of bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is nothing. It is only that means you are starting your business or you're taking forward your idea from the money of your family, or you yourself is contributing towards it and just taking that idea forward. Whereas then what is seed money? Seed money is the money which is given in case I am in an organization like in my college, if it's there, if you got a certain idea, I've got an incubation center. So we give certain seed money allotted to entrepreneur so as to take and develop and take his product and services forward. So that seed money is given from any institution or government agencies or from bank or somewhere. So that is known as the difference which is there. Bootstrapping is your own money. Seed money is a money which you get from your banks or from your institute or other places. Then there's a third thing which is now very, very popular, which is known as crowdfunding. All this thing, let me tell you, is only at the inceptional stage of the idea or product and services which you have got. Because whatever idea I've got, I have to develop the prototype for that. If I have got any process and services, I have to test the servicing of that, for which I required money. So given to me by seed money, bootstrapping, or crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is what is the latest innovation which has happened. It is a crowd which funds the idea or the project through an online platform. There is, in crowdfunding, the three things which is involved. One is the player who wants to take money or who have developed an idea. Next is a platform under which all this bidding and all this happens. And third is the investors who wants to invest their money into the new product. So that is what is known as crowdfunding. That is, you raise funds through online platform. There are certain online platform which encourages this. On this online platform or internet, you communicate with people, you tell them your ideas, and each one of them contribute some small amount for your idea to be successful, the project or venture to be successful. So this is how your idea takes off. Now, this crowdfunding also takes place in three ways. Crowdfunding, one is crowdfunding as a donation. Some people give a donation to it. Okay, I've given my money as donation so that you can just make your idea a success. Next one is after you have pitched in your idea to the crowd. So they will also give, one is donation, second is reward. He's expecting, okay, once your product becomes successful, whatever product you are giving, you will be supplying me that product free for some time. So that is the reward. I'm looking for the reward. In lieu of the reward, I'm giving some token amount of money. Third one is crowdfunding with share in profit or in equity. So this is the three ways by which crowdfunding take place. But this is only related to only now taking forward your idea. Next is, once I have taken forward the idea, I've developed the product, now I have to market it and take it forward and scale up. So to scale up, what is there is basically something known as, you must have heard the word angel investor and venture capitalist. Like you all must have seen Shark. Shark Tank is nothing but related to angel investor and venture capital. There you come up with an idea, you already got a prototype, you already developed a process, but you now want to scale up your business further, for which you require expertise and the help and technology from people who can invest their money. So like that, they invest their money against the equity. So angel investors are those investors who just give them, who are wealthy, high worth individuals who facilitate young entrepreneurs and startups with financial backing. So they like Birlas or like Tatas or Ambanis, they give some money, allocate some money on the corporate, their funding, give it to some of the entrepreneurs there. So that is what is known as angel investor. Whereas venture capitalist is a firm comprising of team of financial experts or professional person who derive their investment from annuity or funds or insurance company or provident fund. This is how they create their own chunk of pool of basically capital, and that capital they invest into your this thing, and from which they will be asking for certain amount of equity. Okay, that is what is known as. This is how you scaled up your basically your whatever idea which is there. Now, for all this thing to happen, certain good colleges and architectural institutes, they have got incubation center. So you must have heard this word where startups and other things take place. That incubation center is there. So what happens in incubation center and what kind of help these people give it to us? Like actually incubation center is what they give certain money for setting up incubation center in the institutions, where they give help in making whatever I've done, whatever idea I've got, whatever product and service I've got, I have to get is basically patent for that. So that help how to obtain patent and how to obtain the legal licensing for that is all done by help is given in incubation center. Now I've got the product, now I have to market that product. So all marketing help and expertise, people in incubation center give you help how to market your product. They also guide you as to how funding, whatever funding I've told you earlier. Besides that, there's certain government funding which is also given under the Atal Incubation Center or Atal Incubation Mission. Or MSMEs also give certain amount of money to entrepreneurship. These are the information which is available in Incubation Center and which is supplied to basically startup companies or to this young entrepreneur. And last one is they also help you in developing the technology and also help you in developing the business plan so that you can take the thing forward. So I hope this is clear as to how entrepreneur is there, what is sustainability, what is entrepreneur, what is entrepreneurship, how the idea translated into reality, and how the funding for all these projects is done. In case there is any doubt or any questions, I can answer it right now, or shall I go ahead? Okay, so I believe everybody is now crystal clear as to what is how the idea is converted into reality. Now we'll just see what are the types of this entrepreneurship. There are basically 4. There are many, but I've just classified into these 4 types of business entrepreneurship. There is something known as small business entrepreneurship. So these people run or have their own business and they hire family members or local employees for them. Okay. And the profit which they get out of this is very small, which is only to feed their own family. And they are not into over industry. They fund their business by taking small business loans or loans from friends and family. This is something known as crowdfunding and basically taking your business forward by basically your bootstrapping or seed. Next is a person who is willing to take his whatever idea or business they've got. He's got a vision. He wants to take it. He wants to scale up the thing. So he cannot do it. So this startup entrepreneur starts a business knowing that his vision is there. He can change the world, but he has to attract investors who think and encourage people. So we think out of the box. So this is where he does his research, focuses on scale of business, and he develops experimental models so that they are the one who hires the best of best people and brightest of employees so that their scaling up can be done properly. And the person who are well clued up in technology. So they are the one who require basically large amount of venture capital. So to fuel backup projects or business. So that is what is known as a second kind of entrepreneurship. That is a startup company who wants to scale up his entrepreneurship. Third one is already a large company. So he is a large company entrepreneurship. So this company is already very large. He's already has got his whole life cycle by which he is working in business. So most of this company basically grow. How do these big companies grow? They grow and sustain offering innovative models and products on the way. That means they keep on evolving themselves, keep on putting, because each company can only become successful once they are differential. That differential means their product is different from what is available in the market. And another thing is they have to be first mover advantage. So the first time they are using, like we used to have ACs, first used to have normal ACs. Now they've come up with inverter ACs. Inverter is basically you're saving electricity and you're cooling faster. And so this is how, with new innovations, with new things, you are changing up and scaling. That is the reason why every time Apple, they keep on innovating, they keep on changing the product each year so that their business grow continuously. Okay, so this is what is normally happen in a large company entrepreneurship. So what they do is with the new product is go into different competition, they go new competition, they build pressure for large company to with rapid tech, because technology is changing, so they modified their product and changes, and the existing organization, either they buy the thing of the innovation from some small entrepreneur, or they have inbuilt internally develop their own product. So that is what is known as, if there's a word which you must have seen, this is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneur, Entrepreneur. That's entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a entrepreneur who is working within a company, developing a new product, and he doesn't have to now worry about finances and other things. He only have to develop a new idea and new product for the large company. So that is what is entrepreneur is. Okay. Next is social entrepreneurship. So there are both kind of a business. One is a small scale up, large company with new products, and fourth one is social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship is basically you're doing something or making a product or producing a product and services, which is to resolve the social needs and problems of a different regions and society. And their only motto, goal is to work for society and not to make any profit and anything. Their only aim is basically to take the thing into play. So this is how basically you have learned what is sustainability, you have learned what is entrepreneur, and you've also learned the difference between entrepreneurship and enterprise. And you've also learned as to what are the four types, how the funding for this is done. And you have also learned as to what are the four types of entrepreneurship which is available. I've just broadly, there are others also, but I've just broadly classified them. Everybody fits into this four kind of category. Now, coming to our bread and butter, that is in education field, are we doing sufficient? Are we doing encouraging our students to become entrepreneur? Are we making our architect, which has got skill set which is required for entrepreneur in 21st century? For that, what I normally say is, in architecture field, there are three things which is there. One is basically your technology is changing rapidly. So you have to be abreast with it. Then whatever you're designing has to have flexible mode. Either you have got prefab and your adaptable and other kind of structures, which is transformation structure, which is taking place. So that flexibility in your design has to be there and has to change accordingly. Last one is it has to be sustainable, net zero, green buildings, and those sustainability kind of things. And they should also be incorporated in all of it. That means if I teach all my students these three things, then we are making our architects not only to read and write, but those who can learn and also can learn and relearn new ways and new technology which is happening days on. That is AI, which is happening nowadays. You have model which has been developed by AI. Like you had Frank Gehry, who would use COA-TRC software basically to design his buildings. And you also have Zahadi, who has got Zah codes, where she is also looking at the behavior pattern through the AI models which they have developed, and from which they get different iteration and parametric designs. They get different iterations and different ideas which is created, and that has to be evaluated. So this is how 21st century architects should be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn things which is coming new in the field which is coming every 5 years or 10 years. Okay. And next is, are we having entrepreneurship education in our curriculum? As per the new education policy, this is must. You also must have seen in institutes that you have now choice-based curriculum system. So choice-based system is available to students. So they have core subjects, they have disciplinary subjects, they have generic subjects. They also have subjects, which is their English communication has to be taught. So their entrepreneurship skills and all can be incorporated and should be taught to students as per the new education policy. Are we doing that in our institutes or not? At least I had taught entrepreneurship to my students as a part of elective from second year onwards. So I wanted to make them aware, because as it is, we all know, we all architects are entrepreneurs. We all architects make something different. And that's why we strive and do better in our profession. So that is what is there is, are we using this entrepreneur education in curriculum in higher education? Because this is a very powerful tool. Once you have entrepreneurship, you reduce poverty, you create sustainability governance, you stimulate resilient infrastructure growth, and you also boost innovation. And in addition, it also enhances social and environmental sustainability. Another thing is, if you have this entrepreneurship education done up, then what happens is you are changing the mindset of students. That means you are changing, making him aware of the entrepreneurship practice which is there. You're changing his mindset. He will start looking at or critically thinking or critically reflecting on these ideas. They will become more self-reliant, self-confident. They will also become ambassador and be able to solve the local and regional problem through the innovative ideas, solution, sustainable business model, which are aligned with the Goal 8, which I have already expressed right at the beginning of the lecture. Next is, we have to channelize these young people. Like you must have seen this Shark Tank or in daily advertisement, they always say, we have to now channelize these young people from taking job that someone else has already created towards creating job for people. That is by conceiving and making startup companies a new business, which is aligned as per the Prime Minister self-reliant India mission concept, and which is also aligned with this self-sustainable development goal 4. That means if we become an entrepreneur, you are also helping society. You're not looking for job. You are creating yourself job, and in terms, you're also creating or adding value to the system. Okay. So this is what the skill set or entrepreneurial skill set which architects should have. Besides this, if in the architectural field, there's certain element which should be available to our architects, which I feel should be there. That is more customer awareness. There's no customer awareness which is available right now. I'll come to once I see, if you see successful entrepreneur, how they've picked up these small ideas and created business out of it. There's no customer awareness. He doesn't know if anybody wants to have his school constructed. He doesn't know where to go for. He doesn't know where to find architects. He doesn't know what all thing it involves. So the customer awareness towards architects is not there. So there is nothing which is available. Next is, there's no networking which has been done. So whatever work you do, it has not been projected somewhere. That's why if you see one of the architect, he has made up his business model where he's documenting the work for others and making it and doing networking of it and making it a social exposure. Their networking is not being done. So this is another element which we architects also lack. Next is, we are not upgrading ourselves. That means technology is rapidly changing. I told you the skill sets is changing, in which technology, previously we used to basically make your drawings with basically your handheld drawings. Then we started moving into ink drawings. Then we moved out into drafting. Then we moved into basically computers. Now everything is now becoming AI. So
the generation or models, which is all BIM models, is being created by softwares. But only thing is you have to give the inputs to them. Only then it happens. Yeah, similarly, previously we used to make perspective, 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective. Now that is no longer required. You already have this walkthrough, you already have this BIM model, which can be rotated and which also can give you as it is, as built things by AR. You can get these. I'll be talking about that in my later part of the talk. Next is, now, is there a know-how? Is there a continuous will which is available with all architects to continuously develop? That means the continuously development and growth should happen as an architect. Is it happening? So there's no will or there's no aim which is happening towards that. So that is also has to be looked forward to. These are the elements which are required by architects. So ecosystem for this has to be provided by us, all of us. As institution, as basically COA, these things have to be thought of. And these FDPs, which is being conducted by COA, is a right movement in that direction. Now we are getting used to, we are also getting upgrading of knowledge by knowing these things from expert talks and expert lectures. Okay. I'll be just talking about some of the successful entrepreneurs who have just taken up some projects or something and then have moved forward. Now, this is the Sriti Pandey. Like I had invited her to my college where she had finished her master's in construction engineering in 2016 and has worked as a project manager in a corporate consultancy firm in construction space. Now, after there, she's quit her job and did some rural fellowship in India. And there they had hit upon this idea of putting an engineering brain to work. That is a problem which is realized, that is the stubble burning which happens in northern part of the country where Delhi, Haryana, Punjab and Rajasthan, these are the places where the stubble burning, which also gives pollution is there because of the stubble burning. So instead of that, what she has done is she has created a product which is known as culture in 2018, which is used to basically just manufacture this waste from the stubbles. Instead of burning, you cut it, then she compress it. She has put up a factory where biopanels are being erected, and 90% of the input is of the straw or the agri waste, which she's using. And that has become now a hit. Or alternate, your partitions, your false ceilings is all made up by this biopanels. So that is one of the innovation which he has done. Now there's another girl, which is Vijaya Durga. She's an architect from Hyderabad. So she believed in basically greener solutions. So to safeguard environment and also to ensure health and well-being of the occupant, she founded a company which is known as Architects. So this is an infra tech company or startup company which provides green building solutions that are affordable and easily adopted. Now, this architect is developing products and services to help foster sustainability and reduce construction industry carbon footprint. Now, you already must have ECBC has come up with some of the rules and regulations. They've also come up with some software of the Eco-Nivaas Samiti. Similarly, she has developed one of the software where you put the same your build form or BIM into that, and through this artificial intelligence product, Know Your Build, it suggests list of suitable and sustainable material which can be used, basically tagged along with time, cost, and energy efficiency, and maintenance information, so that you can reduce oil and can make your building green and can also go up to the net zero building. So this is basically nothing but a virtual prototype model. Architects. This product behave exactly like real buildings, and the cost of construction, time schedules, energy efficiencies of building, and data needed to maintain building can all be extracted from this model. This is what is normally happening in BIM models also. So she has only dovetailed and made her software integrated with those BIM models and is also extracting information out of it through the application which she has developed, which is known as Know Your Build. Okay, so this is how people have thought of something in the relative field into specializing into something. Next, third entrepreneur which I could think of is basically your Titi Tiwari and her husband Gautam Tiwari. We had tie-up with them and they had come and taught us. Tracy is their company. They've got that software, which is as a service, which they use as a VR product for construction industry in 2018. They come and they came and gave lecture and demonstration to our students and encouraged them. So this is the software which they have developed, which along with those goggles and other hardware, you can just make your client go through the virtual world. So where VR, virtual reality, is now converted into, you all must have known what is virtual reality, what is immersive technology, augmented reality, like what is happening in augmenting reality and what is known as mixed reality. So these are the words which have been very buzzwords and common words which have been used. Virtual reality is just like a gaming thing which you are doing. Now this software, with these softwares, these are also software which are also readily available on your iPhones and other things where you can download it, now place it across a wall and can see what are the finishes and other things it can have. So she has developed that kind of a software and now is interacting with the users and with the designers and clients to interact with their designs in real-time solutions. So it allows users to explore, review, and modify their design changes. So this is where she is taking her company Smart VizX, which has launched this Tracy product. Another I could just find out is this Minal Dubey. Like I was just talking about your customer awareness and networking. So she has worked towards that side. Has identified and she is the key to encourage architect and interior designer to document our work. Normally we lack our documentation of our work. So she has started our startup as SpaceX, and they create content for online community of architects and interior designers. Realizing the potential of this documentation for architect and designer, she began to offer services to architect and to document the work. After documentation process is complete, her startups makes best or display the same thing in the basically social media, social sites, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. She showcases the work of the architect and can help architects to connect with their potential clients. So another major milestone which she has also done is basically she has produced a web series called SpaceX Incredible Architects, which showcased various works of different types of architects on Amazon Prime. So this is how innovation can happen. If you think out of the box solution or requirement which for future architects should be given and should be supplied to our students. Like during this process of my lecture or my electives with my students, what I found was some of the students, they were so motivated that they had developed their own products of painting, making small cards and other things. So their mindset was changing. So they started making these cards or iCards by children, handwork and painting, and started marketing them. That means I have basically done what? I have just created awareness amongst the students to move towards entrepreneurship so that later on they can take the thing forward wherever they feel any innovation can happen. After going through these successful entrepreneurs, let me give you my of mentor of change. During last week or 2 weeks back, I just a call from Niti Ayog, somebody from Niti Ayog. They said, okay, why don't you mentor 2 schools? And under the Atal Innovation Mission, what they've got is they identify various experts who are in the field in their respected domains. They allocate to them different schools and to do philanthropic work with them for 4 to 6 hours per week so that we can develop their mindsets toward entrepreneur and other practices, and so that further they can take the thing forward. So this is what is the mission which is there in the Atal Innovation Mission. Why can't we as basically COA can do the same thing? We have all around 400 odd colleges. Why each expert can take 2 colleges and can start giving lectures and start spending time with them. Some small remuneration can be given. So that itself can inculcate, or that itself can develop the mindset of students. Like alumni who's there of their students can also be given the task to pay back to the basically the alma mater by hiring them for doing this philanthropic work for 4 to 6 hours per week, so that you can share your known experiences, you can guide them, you can mentor them. So this mentor of change can only happen if we take lead towards this direction. That is, new entrepreneur can take help from these mentors who have already experienced and can learn from the journey of how businesses can be run, how you have to write business plan, how you have to make into operation, how you have to create marketing campaign, budgeting is done, how you can take strategical decision. So a mentor, basically, if he comes into the mentee, he can shorten the learning curve and can provide wealth of knowledge to mentee. So mentor can also help potential owners understand the different business venture, plans, scope, products, which they can take it forward. They can recognize the opportunities. So mentors can do wonders. They can help mentee pursue correct direction, not chase dream with no legs. That means some of the teaching and task, knowledge which mentor can share are his own work experience, bring a good reputation and credibility to business information from their own journey to mentee. He can advise how to prepare strategic plan, as well as how operative or operational plans can be prepared, orientation and resolution of the problems which they face while developing a product, can support in commercial work of enterprise. He can also motivate mentee in a difficult time, because there are bound to be failures. Like I say, I believe in the concept make and break. I used to teach structures by telling them, okay, you make a model, test it and break it and see where it fails and how it fails. God forbid, you can make as many failures right now, but it did not fail when it is constructed actually on site. So this is how, if you motivate students in this difficult time and also learn from the failure and give them learnings out of it, is what is going to help the mentee. You have to help him establish his goal, because he's clueless. He has to be guided. You have to identify resources for him. You have to help in professional way to manage his business culture, processes, recruiting, how it is developing and sharing your own contacts. Thereafter, you can help him open doors, and he can also join you also, as like I saw in, we have this career development program in our institute, where I found that some of the architects or the visiting faculty over there, they were guiding the students, and they were also helping them for the placements, and also helping them into internship, and also helping them how to take their career forward. So this is kind of mentor-mentee relation which has to be developed between students and the teacher and the mentor. So this is the culture which we have to develop. Then only entrepreneurship can take it forward. So biggest example for this is the Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook owner. He was mentored by not less than Steve Jobs. Now, Jobs himself was also mentored by Mike, an early investor and executive at Apple. Same they said Eric mentored Larry Page and Sergey Brin of Google. So this is how important this mentor-mentee thing is there for our journey towards entrepreneurship. So this is what my take is there for each one of us to develop on. We must have curriculum. We must have built in our curriculum entrepreneurship practice. We have to change the minds of the set of the people. We have to provide them all ample opportunities by creating incubation, innovation, development, and incubation centers in our university, and also help them in making the patents, how the funding has to be done, how the legal advice has to be given to them, how the marketing has to be done. So these are the activities which we all have to take lead and have to take them forward. Now, my journey doesn't finish here. My journey still continues. I'm still learning. So we all have to learn from each other's experiences and each other's journeys so as to take this forward. So this is what, in a nutshell, I wanted to present. Now it's 3 o'clock. I have taken exactly 1 hour, the allotted time which was given to me. I hope everybody is able to understand. Now I'll just stop my sharing, and this is what I wanted to tell you about. So this is also part of your Sustainable Development Goal 4, where entrepreneurship is what is the in thing right now, and we have to take this forward. And this can only happen if we start developing this at a curriculum level, or we start developing them at institutes level, and can start taking this thing forward. So I have finished in case you have any questions. Akriti?
So much, sir, for your valuable time and knowledge. I now request all the participants, if anyone has any questions from sir, they can ask. They can either write their questions in the chat box or unmute themselves and ask it here.
Sir, I have a question.
Shivani, bolo.
Sir, you said that teachers provide students with job opportunities also, I mean, through their contacts, and this is the kind of mentorship that is desirable. But as a teacher, maybe I will not have so many contacts so that I can get 80% of my class placed. So having my limited contacts and students knowing that she would do that, so wouldn't that encourage an unhealthy practice of getting into flattery and buttering towards the teacher?
No. What I mean to say, what I meant was basically each institute must have a placement cell or something. Okay.
Right.
So their placement cell, you can give your references. Okay. Now, these people, references you have given. So these students, they don't have to think, okay, it is given by this teacher. The mentoring is you have to just guide them as to whether to go in for small firm or whether to go in for big firm or to go in for corporate, like you have got these different categories of firm, and whether to go for specialized work or whether to go for higher studies later on. So these are the mentoring which I wanted you to take it forward. And whereas any job prospects and this thing, you give it to the placement cell. They themselves will not take it forward. So that tag will not be there. Okay, no flattery and nothing will not happen. They themselves will now call those agencies into campus, and then the placement of students will happen. Like Arcob and Morphogenes, those big firms can be called, and they themselves can take and we only help students in preparing their folders so that their portfolios can be developed further. We give them guidance towards that. That is what I meant.
Okay, right, sir. Thank you, sir. I think there is another question in the chat box, sir, for you, which says, can you elaborate on funding a construction startup?
Construction startup. See, I told you, construction startup. No, construction startup, what are you doing? You're talking about contractor? Or what are you talking about? You can just speak to me directly.
It can be architect, builder kind of thing, or it can be like a apartment construction. It can be a house construction. Maybe developer, contractor, that kind of person. With architecture and design.
See, what actually you're talking about business. I told you difference between business and entrepreneur. So these fundings which I had listed out is basically for an entrepreneur.
Otherwise, for builder and other things, loans and other things are all there. Bank loans and other things are there. Whereas for, in case for any entrepreneur or startup company, or in case I want to develop a company where I am giving it different types of aggregate, which is not available, or I have developed my own kind of aggregate, and I want to take funding for that. So that can be taken through these ventures, which I've told you. First, you have to develop a prototype for that, and then you have to test it, and then you have to go towards these shark tanks or venture capitalists or angel investors to invest into it. If they find your proposal viable and profitable, then only they will put capital into it. That is what I meant. Basically, this is kind of funding which happens in this entrepreneur world. They see also the prospects as to how it is, if your product can be scaled up and can be taken it forward, has got any idea and which can be expanded further also. Then only they'll come forward with their money. Na? You must have seen in this Shark Tank thing, how many, they don't give fund to everyone. They give only fund to the idea which they feel is appealing and which can be taken forward. So that is kind of pitching you have to do with this venture capitalists, and also with your basically angel investors, and also with this these two people for scaling up. And just to start up is all crowdfunding and other things you can bootstrap it. But for the construction company, there has to be something differential. Or I developed a sand, like there is some already search going on, finite sand. I don't know whether you're aware, like how they are making sand out of this sand dunes, sand. So that finite experiment, once that becomes successful, research has to go there. And then when the product is developed, so then the funding automatically comes.
So there is another question by Ajit Nirmal. Can you tell us about Atal Incubation Yojana and how we can start it in our institute?
Okay, there is Atal Incubation mission is basically, you just Google it. So Niti Aayog, they will tell you. So there, in case you have to start up, there is a proforma for which you have to submit. There's a 10,000 square meter of area which you have to dedicate to them. And they give you loans. I think they give you 10 crores of loan for next 5 years. And you have to develop a kind of infrastructure which is given in those Atal Incubation mission. And then you also have to have these consultants hired for giving knowledge to basically your startup people. So that is where you can find information. Go to Niti Aayog, type Atal Incubation Mission and licensing for that. So proforma and other formalities will come there.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I have a question from you. When I enrolled into studying architecture and further enrolled for Masters in Planning, so there was this thing that I wasn't very aware of these fields when I was in school. And whenever I used to tell like my juniors from school, like younger than me by 10 years or so, they wouldn't understand what exactly I'm studying or what exactly I do as a professional. So do you think that there is a need from our side, the professional side, that we should go back to school and have some interactive session with the school students?
Exactly. That is what my institution does. What we do at Sushant, there's something known as outreach program. So what you do is you have to, like in a private player, I told you, in a private market, you have to attract students. How does a student come? They come through the legacy. Also, they come through how good your alumni is. And also they come from the word of mouth. And also it also comes through by these outreach programs. Where you go to each schools, my faculty go to each school, they introduce the programs which we are having in our Sushant, and also the master, and we also go to like colleges also where they don't have master's program. And we tell them, okay, these are the master's program, because no college, all colleges don't have master programs. If you see out of this 400, there's everybody is more aligned towards BR courses only. So there are some colleges who are specialized in master's program. So we go to these BR programs, colleges also. We tell them, okay, these are the master's program which we are running. And what is the USP of this master's program?
So that is told to the students. So then they can come and connect with that. And similarly, there are not many colleges which are having PhD programs. So I'm fortunate enough that we also have a PhD program. So that's why now it has become mandatory to have doctorate degree. So that's why in our time, the PhD program, even master's program was not there in all schools, now in all colleges. Now it is slowly catching up, and people are coming, and we have these outreach activities where we teach them, okay, what is the difference between planning and what is the difference between your architecture? Like, what is the difference between, now there was a dilemma also. Like, we have a school of design also with us. So there's a dilemma. What is the difference between interior architecture and interior design? Now, interior architecture comes under the gambit of COA. Interior design comes under the gambit of UGC. Like, recently, there was one circular from UGC that there is something known as Bachelor of Urban Design they have started, and Masters of Urban Design under UGC. So there is a difference. So you have to be very clear of this differential which is there and explain to students so that they don't get confused, for which you have to organize outreach activities with them when starting from January onwards to the end also, July, because the potential people who are going to join your college or your institution is also, you already know the NATA coaching center, tie up with them. They will be able to help you. You go there and deliver your lectures there and bring clarity to them. I hope I've answered your question, Akrit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am very much satisfied with your answer. There was one more thing that I wanted to add to my question, was that like many students who think of architecture as a very glamorous field, and when they enroll into the institution, they actually understand that it is very time taking, and one needs to work really hard to be different from others. So I think it is my personal view that we need to have an aptitude aptitude test kind of thing during our 11th and 12th standards. So students must understand that what exactly they are going to do if they are thinking of pursuing architecture, and even urban planning or regional planning also.
We have this NATA examination also, where the thinking abilities of the candidate is being tested, and imagination ability of students are being tested. So that is also there. Plus, over and above this, what I mean to say is there's no doubt that this architecture profession is very demanding, but at the end of the day, it is very satisfying. We have to celebrate that. You are making something new, which nobody others have thought of. So that is your own baby, your own creation, which you are creating. So you got to have happiness in these small things. Then only you can develop this further. And plus another thing which is happening, I don't know, COA has to take lead in this, because new education policy has come, and new education policy talks about 4 years kind of a thing. Like, everything is related to 4 years, and we are the one who are having 5 years. So we have to align with whether, like in 4 years, we have 1 year certification course, second year diploma course, third year you have your degree course, and in fourth year if you come out, you have honors with your research portfolio. But we are 5 years. So where we stand in between this, so then COA has to take a call. Can we reduce, like engineering people have done it to 4 years? So that we are aligned with everyone, because one, it is basically more, because what is another thing which is happening is the people who, younger generation people who are coming, what is happening is either somebody of them is already in the architecture profession, then only they are coming and joining. New people are not joining. So unke liye you got to create environment, you got to create this thing, ecosystem in such a way that they are attracted towards it. That can only be done if you also make your curriculum to 4 years, squeeze it to 4 years, and so that it's aligned. Because what this is, why should I spend 1 year more fees compared to 4 years? And I know in architectural field right now, there is the remuneration or rate of return is not that much as compared to other fields. So that is the reason I am saying you go towards entrepreneur practices, so that from the day one, you don't become a job seeker, you become job giver. So that can only happen if you start having that entrepreneur mindset embedded in students right from second year onwards. So this is my only take for that.
Thank you so much, sir.